All right, sweet, sweet. Hi, guys. Welcome to episode three, or technically our second episode, but is a review of episode three of The Rings of Power. It's me, Chiazo here, alongside Priscilla. How are you doing, Priscilla?
I'm dandy. I don't know why I
Sweet,
picked that
sweet.
word, but we'll go with it.
Was it something? Was that just a random, or is that inspired by the episode? Like, what's your immediate reaction before we get stuck in? Immediate
Do you know
reaction.
what? Right, we'll go into the character who I saw. Right, the character who I saw, I screamed a little bit. I
Oh,
was very very excited, even though he shouldn't be there. But we're gonna forget that. We're gonna forgo that because the psycho side of me was very 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 excited to see his little
ah.
face, and it warmed my heart. It made my day. Not even the hot chocolate I had today will beat the feeling I had when I
Oh wow.
saw him.
Oh my days. Well, I hope your boyfriend doesn't listen to this episode because that was crazy. But did this character happen to appear in the last few seconds of the episode?
Oh, okay, that's my
Oh,
second
it's not
one.
who I was thinking then.
No, but that's my second one though. That's a good shout because I was all
Great.
excited, and then when the last person came up, I was like, oh! But the person I
No.
was thinking of, he came up when you know, his sister came with the horse.
Ah, okay. For those that aren't watching the video version of this, Priscilla literally flicked her hair as she was talking about this particular character. But let's let's get into the storylines. I think there were three major storylines this time around, and what I've thought of doing is actually tackling them from my least favorite, unfortunately, to my
Mm.
favorite. Yeah, yeah. So switch up the we're gonna switch up the format a bit today. So now,
Sure.
unfortunately, I haven't actually consulted with Priscilla in terms of least favorite to favorite. So let's just hope she agrees. So the first thing for me was actually the Harfoots. Or sorry, three storylines I'm thinking of basically were covered in episode three. Harfoots, the Island Kingdom of Númenor, and what the hell was going on in the Southlands. All crazy, all worth talking about. So let's get stuck into it. So starting with the Harfoots, do you have any opening thoughts on the Harfoot scenes, Priscilla? What did you think? What did you make of it?
Okay, so there was one line in that episode that really, 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 really annoyed me.
Oh
Right?
wow, is that about
It was
seven
when
reallys?
what's her name? What's her name? The girl who's
Nori,
befriended the stranger.
Nori.
Yeah, Nori, right? So it's when she said, "Oh, but all us hobbits, not hobbits. See, I've already gone into it. All us Harfoots, all we do is stand on the sidelines. When are we gonna go on an adventure?" I'm like, oh, literally, I heard that line, and they hadn't annoyed me the entire time, and that line
Yeah,
annoyed me. I'm like, way to make it obvious. Yeah, way to make it obvious. It's exactly what me and you talked about last week. I didn't
yep,
want this to happen. And then when it happened, I was like, are you actually being serious right now? Like, are we being for real? Is this what we're doing?
yeah. It was disappointing actually. I started with that scene with a bit of so when they were first introduced, obviously, going back to find out what's happening with the Harfoots. And they were having a folksy time, dressed up in their, little costumes, being one with nature and all that kind of stuff. And I did actually enjoy I'm starting to enjoy the quirkiness of Lenny Henry's character.
Oh, I
Um,
love
you know,
him.
yeah, he actually lives like someone that lives in a amongst the trees and the grass and stuff like that. Bit of a Radagast vibes. Not in terms of his magical powers, nothing like that at all. But I do think if you live that long in nature, you do get a bit crazy. And I think he brought that character across really well. Um, I loved the um, I love the memorial service they were sort of doing. Talking about people that got left behind, and I mean, listing their cause of death. Now I know that sounds really morbid, but in a weird way, it was a really light scene. Talking about
Yeah, when
someone
they're
that,
all singing and dancing, I'm like, this, you're listing the dead and
yeah,
you're making it into a sing song. And I was actually quite enjoying it. And then I'm like, wait, they're actually listing off dead people on their that who died on their way there. Then you got,
yeah,
oh, what's her name? What's her name? When they listed out her family, I was like, damn, yeah, now it's hitting home. I was all like happy, 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 happy. And then when they
mm,
listed out her family, I thought, oh, damn.
yeah. I mean, they are actually dead. I mean, one person died from bee stings, and they actually decided to laugh, which was it was something. It was something. But like I said, I did find it. I did find it interesting. I think I I felt a little bit more in love. Well, no, love is a very strong word. Let me not love bomb these guys. Um, I did like. I feel like I liked their character just a little bit more. But as far as where the story went, I really didn't think it went anywhere. So obviously, we know that Nori has been trying to hide the stranger from everyone in the camp. um this stranger, again, like, doesn't seem to know where they are. Is a bit infantile in some ways. If you ever watched the Iron Giant, very very old movie, but about someone that was trying to sneak a giant around, and I felt it was that same kind of trope. So they're trying to do something, but they're knocking into stuff. It's like collapsing bookshelves, basically. And that's what happened with the stranger looking at a map, which I think was a map of stars. Um, but then something that was indicated to us in episode 2, that this person can't quite control fire. So set fire to this map, and then we have an unfortunately tired sequence of, he bumps into one thing, and that other thing bumps into something else, and then, before we know it, he's spinning out of control, and all of the Harfoots have now spotted the stranger, which they weren't too happy about. I mean, what did you think of the stranger's representation um, in that scene?
It, do you know what he reminded me of, right? Do you remember that Roald Dahl book, the BFG?
Yes. Yeah.
That's what that reminded me of.
Yeah.
And I know I'm gonna be very annoyed once we get the identity reveal of who this person is. I don't know who this person is, but like, because they made him look like a real bumbly sort of idiot. He's bumping
Yeah.
into things. He like I don't know how to explain it. Like it's very much okay. The BFG is a terrible example, but that's what he looked like to me. But it had the feel of like when Pinocchio becomes a real boy and he doesn't really know how
Yeah.
to use his legs and stuff. That's
Yeah.
what that reminded me of completely. And it's just sort of like, well, if this person is this massively ethereal, all-knowing, or whatever this person is, we know he's going to be some sort of omnipotent character.
Mm.
You've made them look like quite an idiot in episode
Yeah.
3, which is now I know it shouldn't make me feel this way, but I don't know if I'm gonna actually take them that seriously because I'm like, well, you're the same person who bumped into thing 1, thing 2, thing 3, thing 4, and bumped into a bunch of Harfoots looking like an absolute crap. Do you know what I
Pretty,
mean?
pretty much. And it's hard because I know obviously there's loads of theories surrounding who this character can be, and a lot of those theories are someone of great importance. But to spend 3 episodes, mind you, most of the episodes are, if I'm wrong, someone correct me, but I do believe they're all over an hour long, and we've only got 2 words out of this person. They've already shown us that he's quite clumsy, he's infantile, and for some reason he can't control fire or causes fire to react whenever he goes near it. And obviously we get the Harfoots, not so happy about having a giant, amongst them that could have endangered the entire clan. They got banished to the back of the migration, as they called it, which sounded like a really bad punishment. But it was it was frustrating that we didn't get any more of what this character could be. The person, I did see a few things online. The fact that the only word he could say was Nori, which just exposed my girl like straight away. And but the other thing was that he said friend, which sent the Gandalf theories absolutely wild, because we know Gandalf sat in front of Moria and there was the whole riddle to get inside Moria. Do you remember?
Yeah. And the
So
password was ah.
yeah, so a lot of people, and we both said we don't want to see this, but I mean, he said friend, and I don't know, like the guy can't speak, and they've decided he can only say the name of the girl and the word friend.
Oh, I
Um,
didn't think about that.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
he did say, oh my gosh.
but now I feel like I've ruined your day. To be honest, I really, I'm really look. I'm really hoping it's not the case. I'm really hoping it's not the case. But just to focus on the story side of things, for me, that story actually hasn't gone anywhere. Okay, there's the scope that there's the Harfoots finding out that there's a giant among them, but at the same time, uh, that could have been done in episode two. I feel,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
didn't think they needed to stretch out that storyline to episode 3. I
yeah,
think they could have done that in the entirety of episode 2 and then
yeah,
spent episode 3 sort of expanding on their little migration journey and, what happens, sort of pull out, who is he, his correspondence with Nori's family, because obviously her mum was not with the shits at all. She
no,
she
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 was
wasn't
not
that guy
happy.
around at all. She was like, "Girl, you're a Harfoot. We
Yeah,
don't deal with tall folk."
no,
So
no, we stay on the path. We don't
we stay
fall
on
off
the
the path.
path, like we keep our heads down. What did you say? The tallest weeds get snipped off. So
Yeah,
it would have been
exactly.
more interesting to see that push and pull of Nori actually, even though it's really tired and annoying because then it dilutes what Frodo did later on
Yeah,
with the Shire a lot. But it would have been quite interesting to see like the push and pull of their two conflicting ideologies of the way they view the world and how she corresponds with the stranger.
yeah,
So yeah, you're right. It could have been done in episode 2. It's got for them to put in episode 3 has got to mean it leads up to. I'm hoping it has to mean it leads up to something. Because I think what it did, we'll probably talk about the other storylines. The storyline in the with involving the other characters was so strong
mm,
that it has to make me think this has got to be leading somewhere in the next
significant. We
episode.
need
Like
that payoff.
it's got to pay off because the other two was such heavy, big storylines that shocked me. I didn't think they were going to do half the things I saw in there
Yeah,
this early on. So it has to lead into something significant because then what's the point of putting something that could have just all been done and sorted within the
yeah, no,
first.
exactly. And I mean, apart from the family discovering, a giant amongst them, which I feel, could have been done in episode one, and I don't think anyone would have complained, because it seems like the natural path for the story to take. It is kind of frustrating that not only has this person been infantilized, so I'm not thinking, oh my days, this is a really cool and important person. It seems like they're going to be dealing with a big baby, and we've got the repetition of Nori being like, well, let's go see the big bad world. So, if I was a I don't know, a grades teacher or whatever, that a grades teacher doesn't exist. That doesn't make any sense. So I don't know why I said that. If I was a teacher giving people grades, it would be quite low. I did, it's some of our fears realized ever so slightly. So let's hope we get a good payoff, and let's move to something a bit more exciting, as Priscilla folds her hands. She is ready to go. So yeah, let's go to the island of Númenor. So obviously we've got Galadriel waking up in a boat. Halbrander's there, offered some food. And yeah, why don't you kick us off? What did you talk us through your thoughts? And yeah, I'll sort of go through the narrative. But yeah, go ahead.
So when I heard the name Isildur, right, I'm gonna tear up. Right. It's like you're not meant to be here. I'm gonna forget you're here. You're not meant to technically be here. I'm excited you're here, right? I was like,
Yeah.
and then like he obviously does not look like the Peter Jackson's version of it at all. He was a lot fitter than that one, but
Yeah,
but
it doesn't look
it
like
was
he'll grow into the Isildur we've seen in
I
Peter
don't know
Jackson.
if he'll grow into that. He didn't. He was given. This is a different show. He was given from I'm from Dawn.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's kind of what they've gone for. You know, at the end of the day, this is an island in the middle of the sea, so
Yes, I think they
um
went off that vibe because even his sister, who doesn't exist in the actual law,
yeah.
um,
Which I
which
thought
was
was replacing her brother, but
was replacing her
apparently
brother, but
isn't.
they mentioned his brother. Yes. Oh, okay, this is interesting. I think it's probably to sort of play a mother role
Yeah.
instead of having a mother there. But when I saw Isidore, I was like, oh my heart. I was like, gosh, this is you're getting to me. It's like
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos, you sick man. You knew what you were doing by putting him there, because that's he's one of my favorite characters in the lore.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know me, I like my people turning bad, innit? So it was actually interesting seeing what he was actually what he was like pre, the ring and stuff, and seeing you can even see little bits and pieces of his personality and what would actually potentially lead him to wanting to keep the ring.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
even the
And I
way,
think that was important to
which
introduce.
was important to us to introduce, because I think it gives us, even though they should have not done that, I would have been very happy without it. But it does, I get what they're trying to do there. Obviously, they want to sort of basically, when you watch it, you sort of understand the fellowship better when they do the whole prologue of the fellowship.
Yeah.
I really, really, really loved the way that they handled Halfbrand. I loved him. The second episode, I wasn't there. I wasn't standing. I was
Yeah.
understanding. That third episode, he got me. Is when he goes, "Oh, but you shouldn't trust me. You know what my ancestors did." I was like, "Oh," I was like, "He gagged you there, sis."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He gagged you there. But yeah, I found his character development in the episode very interesting. He actually, there was a lot of development from his side, because to obviously find out that he's an heir and he's the king of men, yada 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 yada,
Hmm.
and that he can actually unite everyone under one banner, was actually very interesting. I hate that they did that typical trope they do in films. I know other reviewers also said spotted the same thing as well, which is when you want to show someone who's powerful, you get them alone in an alleyway and beat up a lot of people, and you go, "See, he is powerful. He can
Yeah.
fight." And I hate that trope. You could have just done that thing. Like, they've already shown that he's got somewhat of an edge with the way he defended. Now her name's gone out of my head. Oh, her name's gone out of my head.
Galadriel.
Yeah, Galadriel. I don't know why I forgot her name.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the way I don't know why I forgot her. But when he
Yeah, the way he
defended
stepped in too.
Galadriel, when he stepped in, I'm like, that's enough. Like, if we
Yeah.
then, obviously, if we had that and then found out later down the line the same scene, I'm like, okay, that makes sense, because what he did there was actually was like, that's more kingly like than
Mm.
him beating up four people. Like, yeah, I could beat up, I can't, but I could beat up four people. That make me viable to be, king and unite all men under one banner. So that was interesting. I think Galadriel was very, very interesting this episode. She's a bit of a cocky little shite, I'm not gonna lie. Can't be talking
Yeah,
to people
yeah.
like that. You want to
She's
leave the
not
island.
who she is a few thousand years later, which
No, she
I
really
guess
isn't.
a few thousand
She ain't.
years.
She ain't
A few
there, man.
thousand years, so we'll allow it.
Yeah, we'll
We'll
allow
allow
it.
it.
She's young. She's young. But yeah, like, it was very interesting seeing her sort of. Well, I think what I liked about what she was doing was that she is still young and she's still got growing pains there, But I love the fact that she clocked, I can't do this on my own and do this one man army I was doing for so long for
Yeah,
my brother. I've got to team up with people. And I think seeing her team up with Powerbrand and actually realizing her finding, even her finding like working with Thingy, and then finding the actual mark, and then when they did the reveal of
yeah.
Sauron's mark that it was
Mordor. I
actually the
was
map,
like,
I was like, oh,
shit.
and that's genius. And I think, the thing that got to me, and I was like, oh shit's getting real, was when they said the elf is here.
Yeah, yeah,
When they said that, I was like, oh. Oh, because I kept thinking, why is she moving anti with her? The entire time I kept thinking, like,
yeah.
what's she?
So
Because
this is
Galadriel
Queen
hasn't
Muriel
done.
we're talking
She,
about here.
yeah,
So we,
she's being
yeah,
proper anti with her. And I
yeah.
kept thinking, what's your problem with Galadriel? Because I know she's been a little bit of an ass. And I know
Mm.
she's pushing a little few buttons here and there, but she's not being a complete and utter prat. Like, she's being, you know what I mean? It's something you can work
I
with.
think she's just been strong for her
She's
people.
being
I think
strong-willed and strong-minded. And then when she said to the king, the elf is here, I thought, okay, 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 all right, I
that, yeah,
understand now.
some of the hostilities been
The
explained.
hostility's now making sense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to come in and be definitely not negative, but like, there's a reason this was in front of the Harfoots. Like, there were loads of aspects I really liked about this particular storyline. So I felt for the first time like Halbrand was like one of the first times where like a made up character made me kind of sit up and say, oh, okay, this could actually be interesting, because in his first appearance, I felt he was stoic. I didn't really know what his motivations were and things like that. But I love the way he skillfully handled Muriel, in terms of, because Galadriel, like I said, was being really strong-headed, and like I said, this just is such a departure from how we know her in the books and Peter Jackson's. But like I said, we'll allow it thousands of years. Maybe she just grows up. Um, but then like you said, the writing tropes. Now it's kind of like, I want to call it like set piece writing, where like you kind of add a very pointless scene to make a point. And sometimes when I'm watching something, I don't want to watch something and be like, you could cut this scene out completely and the story would still move forward. So what I'm referring to is the drink up he had with let's just call them Númenorian Tories, because that's basically
Oh,
what was
yes.
happening. And it was even it was I just think it was a strange scene. I'm just going to put it out there. I think it was a strange scene, particularly when he said, they were bullying him, which, kind of made sense. Okay, he was like they called him lowborn because of what he was wearing. Didn't look like he had any money. So when he said, I'm going to buy everyone around, just seemed really confusing. So he had all this money, and then he steals the jewel of one of the Tories. And I'm just like, that doesn't make any sense. It's really weird that this guy um, has the money to buy everyone drinks, but uh, still resorts to stealing. Unless I missed something, really, unless I missed something, it just seems that all of that was written to put him in an alley with five angry men, and then say, yeah, he can beat everyone up. So I did find that really weird, but at the same time, it did capture my attention, for sure. So I know you've spoken about Isildur and his siblings quite a bit. I mean, but obviously, let's not forget Elendil, the name that Aragorn cries in the Battle of
Oh,
Arnhem.
yeah. Yeah,
I
yeah.
think, yeah, really good actor. When Muriel was saying, so, you know, translate your name, I thought that was really cool. So, even when he said, like, I think it means stargazer or friend of stars, and
Friend, yeah, I
that
think a friend, something friend or something, yeah.
yeah, which I thought was, to me, when I heard that, I thought that's a good enough connection to elves anyway. Because literally, if you like, I can't speak any Elvish, but when you do look around their language, a lot of their language is to do with light and stars and all that kind of stuff. So I thought that was deep enough of a connection. But then they throw in that really weird line, what else does it mean? And then he says friend of elves, and I'm just like, I mean, that's
That was
what's the word?
unnecessary.
Yeah, it's like, the stargazer line was subtle enough. It was like,
Even
you
the
know, you
thing with
either catch it or you don't.
the statues, it's saying, oh, you know what? It's I think he said on the statues, on the things on the wall, oh, like it
Mm.
says bits in Elvish. That's enough. Like you were saying, that's fine.
Yeah, and like that was enough to say, this guy might be involved with elves. Most people will know that this guy is related to Aragon, and Aragon loves an elf. Like, I think there's a way to be a bit more subtle with these things rather than spelling it out, basically.
Yeah.
You want to do a show don't tell sort of thing. So to literally say, what does your name mean? Oh, it means elf friend. So now we know that you're going to help Galadriel. So again, like, I'm definitely not, like, crapping on this episode. I did actually think it was the best, particularly because of the last storyline we're going to cover. But there was some really weird moments. I've got one more to throw in there. One, just one more. And the thing is, the reason why it sounds really negative as well is you actually covered like a lot of the good stuff. It was really cool to see Isildur. Muriel was great to see, and she's absolutely beautiful. My girlfriend doesn't have any interest in Lord of the Rings, so she's never going to hear it. But that woman is, wow, and a good actor as well. So it's all good, man. It's all good.
Not you putting the disclaimer out.
No, it's mad. It's mad. It's mad out here. Sorry, forgive me, listeners. But I'm sure most of you will agree. Anyway, but there was a really strange moment. So, like I said, Priscilla's gone over all
Just
the
so you
notes.
know, that's the cold open. Just so you know, you go ahead.
Oh, okay. Okay. Right, right. Right. So, a really strange moment for me was when they were riding to the Hall of Law. And what was that?
Her
If this show,
smile. Do you
what
know
were
what?
they?
Right.
What were they thinking?
Do you want me to
Someone
preface?
added that as a joke, innit?
Do you want me to do the scene or what? How I was watching the episode, right?
Go
So
on. Do it.
I ordered my breakfast, right? I'm sitting and I'm eating, and I'm like, oh, okay, okay, okay. And then I see, um, I'm like, they're gonna ride horses, and I'm like, okay, come on, Lloyd's Bank advert. I know that's right. And then she did that face, and I don't know if you can see it, like you're gonna see it. It was like this, right?
Oh
And it looks
no.
like, when people, like, you can't, I don't know if you can see me, obviously, I don't know if this is going to be shown on YouTube wise, but like, when you edit weird smiles and you Photoshop them on people,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
looked, I literally was, like, I had like a fried piece of toast in my mouth like this, and
yeah.
then I literally froze and I started laughing. I almost thought like like it was going to drop on me because I thought, what sort of smile is that? I felt so for the actress because I'm like, that's not flattering, girl.
Like,
Girl,
who cleared it? Like, do you know what that felt like? It felt like one of those
a Love
scenes where,
Island
like,
date.
it felt like one of those scenes that, like, maybe they were having fun riding horses, and one of the cameramen just happened to capture, you know, a not so serious moment. Because, like, if you imagine, like, on set, they just had to ride the horses, might not even have been them. But, maybe the director asked for some close ups, like, let's just get some close ups, maybe we can use it. And so, because, we all know, like, if a movie it was 2 hours, sometimes it was 6 hours of filming, and then they cut it to two, and that just feels like one of those things that were just in there because the director was trying to get a particular shot, and then someone comes along and says, do you know what, I like that shot, let's use it and let's put it in slow motion. Like, the slow motion of the horse running was actually bad enough, but then that close-up of her face, and it was like, it just didn't make any sense, because there was also a moment where when Elendil was like, oh, it's a couple of hours ride from here, and then Galadriel's like, oh, ride, so okay, they're setting up she's really excited about horses, even though again, maybe Tolkien fans can come and tell me that she's always been into horses. Hasn't been indicated in any of the episodes. Wasn't indicated in the Hobbit trilogy or the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So it was very weird. And then they showed her all like her face all zoomed up, like almost like the only other close up like that in the entirety of Lord of the Rings was Gollum when he finally got the ring. Um, and I'm just like, yo, what was that? Who left it in there? And that is the meme all the haters are going to use, unfortunately. I guarantee you that is going to be some haters' thumbnails tonight.
Oh, they've probably got it started already. I saw that, right? And I was
Oh,
like, is this who we are? Is this what we represent?
yeah.
Like, really?
Oh,
Because everything was going so well. I was having a great time. I was having a jolly good time. And then I saw that and I thought, because you know what? I
yeah.
don't mind if you're showing the horse riding in general. Like I don't really care as long as you if you like I just hope that, like if they removed the her getting excited about the horses and she was just riding and stuff and it was like a normal horse riding scene in any film or fantasy program, like like when Gandalf is taking Pippin
Yeah, yeah.
off to
To Minas Tirith.
yeah, if it was like that I wouldn't give two craps. That's fine, do you know what I mean?
Well, that was nice. Some wide shots and the
Some
the
wide
um the
shots,
scenery,
see a bit of the horse's
just
legs,
to
you know what I
just
mean?
to demonstrate. Okay, they're traveling somewhere. That's
They're
all we
traveling
need to
somewhere,
know. That's
but
what you.
like that.
Yeah, like I don't know the purpose. Like someone has to come and explain, and it does. It's things like that do make me worry for the future of the episode. But at the same time, look, some exciting things do happen, in that whole sequence, finding out that this isn't a sigil, this is Mordor, the fact that Queen Miriel has one of the Palantirs, who the hell is Halbrand, so there were some good things in there. But guys, this is the difference between making a 7 out of 10 show and a 10/10 show.
10 out of
Moments
10.
like that. So let's save this episode. So for me, and again, I don't know if you agree, but I think what happened in the Southlands with our man Arondir and the Orcs was by far the best
Hey,
part of this show.
yo, when I heard that Cockney accent and I saw that face and I thought, oh shit, here we go again. I
There
was
we go.
like, not the orcs. The thing is, yeah, this is a disclaimer, right? They used to scare me as a kid.
Okay.
I They used to terrify me. I mean, remember when you read the books and stuff and Tolkien makes them sound really creepy and stuff, do you know what I mean?
Mm.
But I remember when I first saw like the Fellowship, I was freaked. It was him and Voldemort terrorized my childhood. So like I felt like and then I think when I saw them, was it in the Hobbit that I saw them? They were in Hobbit, in it. I don't
Yeah.
even remember the Hobbit. In the Hobbit, they didn't scare me as much. These ones, yeah, these guys were on crud.
Hmm.
They scared the living bit. I said, "Oh dear, babe, I don't know how I'm gonna get you out of this one." I was out here
Yeah.
trying to
No,
find
it's
ways for
looking
you to
it's
get
looking
out.
tight. It's looking
He
tight.
was looking shit. Like, do you know what it felt like, right? He was facing prime 2010 Pep's Barcelona, right?
Yeah. He was in big
Xavi,
trouble.
Iniesta, Messi, like Pedro. All these players are like all these also there. I'm like, guys, this tiki taka is not working out, babes.
Yeah.
You and your little men, you're not getting out. And then I think the bit that got to me the most, yeah, and I'm like, why are you crying? Was when he had to cut the tree.
Yeah, but
He
look,
was
it's a nice touch. It's like I know what you mean, but these are the little things that the fans want to enjoy. And I don't know if they had three different directors for these three storylines that we're talking about, but I do feel that was a great storyline in terms of the way it built up tension, faithfulness to the races, um, all round action. Although there's one little bit I wasn't too happy with. I'm going to end up being the negative guy on this podcast, unfortunately. I won't be. Hopefully you balance me out. Sweet and sour, that sort of thing. But I just felt like it was nice the way. So just to set the scene for everyone, we know that they're in the Southlands. These orcs have captured Arondir. They're making them either rip up the land because they're looking for something. They don't tell us, which was deliberate, But we now know that those lands are what, and for those that don't know, and it's not a spoiler because you're literally told, but that is what eventually becomes Mordor. And so we're seeing them rip up the land. And I did like the way the elves, so he's with his elves from the watchtower, and the orcs are telling him to cut down the tree. And elves aren't on that. They like their
They love
trees,
their
they're tree
nature.
huggers. Shout out Bellerin and them, man. That's
Not
what.
Bellerin,
Yeah, the
Greta
tree
Thunberg, and that.
huggers. Yeah, exactly. Greta Thunberg, all these man, like, we're not going to cut down the trees. And so the best, again, this is why I talk about faithfulness to characters. See, the things about orcs is that they are absolutely irredeemable. That is their thing. There's not, they're not supposed to be nice or considered. And the only reason I'm saying this because there was a lot of rumors that there might be a bit more to orcs. And as Tolkien fans, we aren't trying to see that an orc is bad, is bad, is bad. So when they were handing out the water, I was like, well, what's going on? Because there was no poison in it. It was like, okay, he passed it to next man. He drank some
Oh
water. It was
God,
like, oh
hey,
yeah.
mentioning that was
That's what I'm
crazy.
saying. I'm like, something is going to happen. I have no idea what, because I said, like, one of you are going to start choking, surely. But they said, nah. And they waited for the last man to sky it. And as he's raising his glass, the throat is cut. And it was so brutal in a way that I was wondering how this show would handle violence, but yeah, that was interesting. The shock on his face, dying with eyes open as blood spilt from his neck. And I was like, okay, these orcs mean business. And you know what, that put the stakes up. They're like, this is a serious situation. You're dealing with the ones that are to become Mordor orcs, the worst of the worst. Now, another thing that built up tension really well, we can talk about this, and for everyone, this is the character that I thought Priscilla was getting really excited about. Turned out to be Isildur, but that's okay. They kept on saying Andar or Adar, sorry, which was the name of the episode as well. Now, I just thought this was one of Sauron's many names, and it still could be. But I wanted to know who this guy was because even the thing about it being Sauron was one of the elves literally said, that guy goes by many names." And we're just thinking, is it him? Is it him? And they built up the tension really well. But what did you think of? So obviously, friend dies. They decide to escape um, when the sun is high, which again was really faithful to the whole orc thing. um, what did you make of the fight scene? What did you make of the fight scene?
I think the cutting of the tent thing to expose the
Hmm.
sun to the orcs, genius. That
Yeah,
was
that
smart.
was good.
I like that. Um, I think the what is that? Whatever that juju creature was, that
It was
ah,
supposed to be a walk, but
was it
I
meant to
don't
be a
know
warg?
why. Yeah, exactly. You see, what was
Because
that? See, that
I
was
was
good.
looking at it and I was like, is this a dog? It looks
It.
like a dog. You know when you go to Africa, right? And
Yeah.
then like you see them runaway dogs that they've not eaten. They've got that dog in them.
Yeah.
That's what that looked like. Because I kept thinking, I was looking around here like it was an episode of The Office. I'm like, is this meant to be a warg?
Oh
Because I
man,
don't know what that
yeah.
was meant to be. It looked like a German Shepherd on steroids. They've not eaten and they're just being
Oh.
pumped up with the juice. I was so confused because I was like,
Honestly, it's
that ain't
like
a
it
warg.
had rabies, but it lived
But it
basically.
lived. Like it's got that
Yeah,
dog in them. Do you know what I
it's
mean?
got that dog, bro. Oh, you
When
need
he
that
bit
dog
when
in you
he
to
bit
fight
that guy's
rabies.
face, no man. When he
I
bit
wasn't
that
expecting
guy's
that level of
face,
violence. I really wasn't.
like that was it's not you. They don't even prep you for it. So I
Yeah,
thought, oh, that one's rabid, but you can cope, you can cope, you can cope. Put me in there. I put that work in. Then he bit that
yeah.
guy's face off, and I thought, you know what? Yeah, I'm happy sitting here back in London, and I'm not involved in that. But yeah, I didn't know that was meant to be a walk. I was so confused. I kept like, I wanted to ask people, like, is that meant to be a walk or like?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, it would have been better for them to say like fell beast or something, because I mean, let's just have it right. I think the wargs in Peter Jackson's version were just a lot better.
A
And
whole
maybe
lot better.
yeah, and like, and it's kind of crazy. Peter Jackson's movies are 20 years old, and I think it's like kind of mad that they had better CGI wolves than wargs, sorry, than guys in 2022,
Because
backed
I
by the richest man on
yeah,
earth, or one of them.
it was very odd because the orcs were perfect.
Yeah,
That was actually
but that was
perfect.
makeup. Those were actors. Those were actors.
Yes,
No
that was
CGI at all.
perfect. Because I'm like, you've handled the CGI on this show quite well, but I've
Yeah,
not really had any CGI complaints till I saw that. I was like, guys, man, this is important characterization here. Yeah,
yeah.
you can't
Because there's
mess
loads
this
of
one
monsters
up.
we need to deal with.
Like
Get it right.
we've got to get this one right. But I think what was interesting, the one thing on the fight that made me, and I like the callback to it, was when Arendelle told that guy, I keep
Mm.
forgetting his name though, his other elf friend, that the way we're gonna have to win is we have to get ourselves to the top and lead us go towards the sunlight, and
Yeah,
that guy does exactly that, and gets
yeah,
arrow stuck in him. I was like,
yeah.
ooh.
Yeah. See, that was again. That's why I do like their bravery to kind of let people die, because I think just this is just a criticism of certainly Disney taking over a few franchises, is that they're really scared to exact violence on people. They don't kill people that much. And I think if that was a typical Disney Plus show, or potentially the flavor of a lot of shows we're seeing now, that guy probably would have made it. He probably would have been captured or something like that. Like there would have been, I don't know, some orcs. I just happened to be waiting for him. But no, they gave us that hope, and he turned around and there were arrows in his chest, and you're like, rah, this is serious. Because at the end of the day, the escape that they were trying to do completely failed. And it was like, do you know what? Like, yeah, let's embrace some violence, because this isn't a peaceful time. I don't want to see whether these characters are made up or not. I don't want to see everyone surviving and having a happy ending. So like I said, that was by far, and Warg aside, I thought that was really good. The build up of tension, faithfulness to the characters, the orcs look great. For people that have played Shadow of Mordor, I don't know if you've played Shadow of Mordor.
A little
Um,
bit, not too much.
oh, okay, but I feel like those orcs were based on that characterization. I mean, yeah, the accents. I don't know why they decided orcs are Cockney, but we're gonna go with it.
It
Shout out East
made
London.
me laugh. I'm like, right, it's
Shout out East London.
it because I was born in East London, innit?
Oh
So I'm
no!
listening to
Oh
these
no!
people, yeah, and I'm like, wow, I'm watching Snatch.
No. So who? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Who went to East London and said, "Do you know what? This is what orcs sound like."
I'm convinced Peter Jackson went to a West Ham game. He saw
Yeah,
them man
yeah,
eating
that's
their
it.
pie, their mash, and their lagers and ales and that, and he thought, you know what? Yeah, I want them to sound like that.
So
That's what you said.
I got something for you. But anyway, no East London slander.
Yeah, man, I was
Let's
born
keep
in
it
Hackney. Let me not cuss. Let me not cuss. Let me not cuss.
nice. I'm only joking. We slander East London all the time on here. According to Tolkien, East isn't good. All the bad things come from the East.
Hey,
Unfortunately,
yo,
I didn't.
man.
I didn't write it. I
Cometh
didn't
and
write
goeth the
it.
tall, stands rise up.
Oh, so anyway, but yeah, but look, it was really good, and then obviously the best part that we were waiting for was, who is this Adar guy? um, and you see someone walking, everyone's bowing, and you're like, there is no way this could be Sauron. Surely not. Is this one of the disguises of Sauron? Then he's walking, and then just as they're about to reveal his face, they cut it. And you know what? For the first time, that made me feel like, actually I want to see episode 4 straight away. That was good. That was good. By far the best part of the episode. But what that leads me into, just just maybe to finish and discuss and speculate and maybe add a bit of insight. There are a few characters on the board now, in terms of people that have been made up, and there are potentially um, identities of villains that we don't actually know. So when I talk about some made up people, so we've got Arendir, we've got Halbrand, we've got this Adar guy. Have we seen Sauron or the Witch King already? Is he
I
amongst these people? Remember,
I
Halbrand was a servant of Morgoth. He said it's in his blood.
that's this is where I was gonna go to, right? So I had a sneaky feeling in my heart, right? It's gonna be Halfrond. I had the sneaky feeling in my heart, and then I
Hmm.
was like, let me watch some reviews and see if anyone else is on the same wavelength as me. And then
Okay.
the one who I watch heavy. This one guy is really good. When he said it, and I thought he thinks he could be the Witch King. I thought because in my head I kept thinking this is too and I don't know if it's a red herring to make us
Yeah, it could
think
be a misdirection.
as in like like your descendant, your people, they go off to the dark side and that, you know what I mean? So
Hmm.
I thought maybe they're just tipping us off to misdirect us, and he actually turns out to be pleasantly okay. But in my head I kept thinking, oh, this gotta be the Witch King. He actually has to be the Witch King. But I don't know if I've convinced myself, so I've become one of them stupid Mephisto people that the Marvel lot have, where I'm gonna convince myself he's the Witch King, because it would be quite interesting to see him and beginning to like him. You're like, oh, he's not like his ancestors. Everyone unites under him, and then bam, like after five
Yeah,
seasons of development, he goes off and does an Empire
yeah.
Strikes Back um 2.0, and that actually that payoff would be really really good. I would actually really really enjoy that. In
Hmm.
terms of Sauron, I don't know, and it's bothering me. Chizzy, I can't see. You're gonna be my therapist today. It's bothering me, right? I want to know who this damn guy is, right? I'm
Yeah.
looking, I'm searching, I'm doing that. Oh, Davide in Love Island when he put two glasses to extra vision. I've been trying to see who this guy is, and honestly, hand on my heart, I don't know. I actually don't know. I keep trying to guess people, and I don't think
Mm.
it's that guy who walks into Ardor, who's Arendor sees. I don't think it's him. That's too obvious. I don't think it's him. So I feel like they're gonna do that stupid thing sometimes where do you remember in the Matrix when he's leading Neo along and then he's walking and then like no one's bumping into him and it's gonna be a random person like
Oh, that has the.
like
Is it the gun? Is it the gun scene you're on about? Where
no,
like
the
the woman
scene
in the
where
red
he's
dress?
first introducing him to the Matrix. And
Right.
this is actually a bad example. No, we're not even using the Matrix, but I feel like it's gonna be a thing where
No, I remember the Matrix quite well. Anyway, go for it. Go
yeah,
for it.
no, but I'm trying to think what's the best person to compare it to. Like, when they did the whole it's Agatha all along and she was behind the scenes of every
Yeah.
single little
Yeah.
thing.
Okay.
That's what I was
Yeah.
trying to get at. I feel like it's gonna be someone on the periphery, someone who we've not guessed. And
Yeah.
then when it gets revealed, we're gonna be like, oh, because they're not gonna be someone who we like, who we thought. I feel like they're
Yeah.
gonna do that because I'm trying to look and I'm trying to guess and I'm theorizing and I know it's only been 3 episodes, but I really can't tell who it is.
Yeah.
I
No,
really can't. I'm
exactly.
trying and I'm struggling so much because I'm like I can't even with other shows and stuff, you get a little bit of something. There's someone who's a
Yeah.
little bit dodgy, but there's so many people who are dodgy.
Yeah.
So it could be anyone. It's like
It's
saying
definitely.
you've got, I don't know, like it's not even like in the books and in the Fellowship, Boromir had a little bit of something.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like oh he smells a little bit, and you
Yeah.
knew when you read the
When he
books and
picked up the
you
ring.
watched the film, yeah, he's gonna fall to the ring, and obviously he doesn't, and then he obviously redeems himself in the end. Chizzy, I'm trying. I don't know if you. I'm gonna let you see if you know. I don't know, and it's really annoying me. And if I don't find out by episode 5, if I don't have something to go off of after seeing that trailer for the whole show, and I saw Sauron, I'm gonna start punching walls.
Yeah, I think the only thing that worries me is that, like, when you talk about misdirection when you're watching a show, and when you really want that payoff of, like, okay, someone is one of these guys. Like, I think it would be slightly disappointing to have an entirely made up villain, when there are so many villains you can go for in season one. So it has to be someone that I'm going to be like, oh my god, this is crazy. Um, the thing about misdirection is that you don't want to know you're being misdirected, and like when it's like the writers are doing things to make it look like it's so obvious it's one person, then it's not satisfying when it ends up either being that person or not being that person. Because if you make it like so obvious something's wrong with Halbrand, so you're like, well, this guy might be prime suspect because his family served Morgoth and all that kind of stuff. Would it be? I think it's arguably a little bit boring if it turns out to just be him without that kind of journey, or at least us seeing the conflict. Or if it's so obvious, or if they make it so obvious he's evil and then misdirect it so badly that it doesn't even make sense anymore. I think that that's where the writers just have to get the balance. Like George R. R. Martin always says, the best characters are grey characters. Um, and so it'll be really interesting to see where they take it, because I think the advantage that this show always had in some ways is that this story isn't written. There's a lot they can do here, but we are relying on the strength of the writers, to deliver a really good show. I think that's a good place to stop. Did you have any closing thoughts yourself?
Um, I think the only closing thoughts I have is actually I didn't even put episode my rating. I didn't even give it my rating. I'll rate.
Ratings. Yeah, sorry, we should do that.
I would rate the episode like a 7.5 out of 10.
Okay.
I think the ending like pulled it up to 7.5. It was a 7 before. The ending pulled it up because
Oh
now I'm
yeah.
excited to see what happens. I think most of the storylines were really, really, really good and very, very interesting. And I think I'm excited to see where it leads up to. But I think there are some things they can improve on. Um, the writing generally has been all right, to be honest. I've had little mini complaints here or there, but nothing too crazy for me to like start screaming and shouting about. But it's been all right. Like, it's been okay.
Yeah.
It's considering I think I just want it to be stronger because, like you said in the last thing you said, is that like we haven't got a lot of information on the second age. You've got no rights to the first age, so
Mm.
because you've got no rights to the first age, you've got to make this so strong because you can't mention anything that happens
Hmm.
then. You've got to make sure everything you're doing now is going to be good. But you know what? I'm not gonna lie. With Game of Thrones, the first season was good, but the third season's where everything really started to like click into gear, and they were really getting into
Yeah,
their groove. So if
absolutely.
I gave Game of Thrones grace, and that's my okay, it's not my favorite, it's my second favorite books after Lord of the Rings. And I gave them like a couple of years before I started critiquing them. I'll give them time because Game of Thrones, it took them a while. I just want them to get into more of the nitty gritty. Like we've had enough world building. Yeah, yeah. I know. These
Yeah,
worlds
yeah. No
exist.
more set pieces,
Hardware
please.
exists. Just let's get straight into it. Throw me into the mess.
Yeah,
Like
look.
I want to see more of it now.
Yeah, yeah. I think no more setup. I want to know who Adar straight away. I don't want a filler sort of episode, as I think in episode 4 they might take us back to Khazar Doom. Like something, there has to be movement. There has to be movement now. There needs to be more information about the stranger. We need to see what Muriel's dealing with. We need to see Galadriel get back to Middle Earth. Like things really have to start moving. No more build up for a build up, and then you leave season 1 on a cliffhanger. Let's get some action. But I think I'll agree with your rating. 7.5 for me. Um, I do think, in a weird way, it's still the best episode of the lot so far. Um, yeah, and I think I've seen enough to be like, this show can go places. So it's been good, not amazing, and that is without this. That's not even any Game of Thrones tax in there. I think I'm just aware of like both laws so much I can separate it in my mind. But obviously, if this is the first time for like both of them, you wouldn't be able to help but compare. But I think it's a decent show in its own right, and I think to hit the levels that HBO have been doing for years and years is just going to be maybe a gap too far for them.
Yeah, and I think what doesn't help, yeah, because I think you're right. What doesn't help them, and it's because House of the Dragon is also on, which is also on this podcast. Make sure you listen to it; it's very good. Um, it's that House of the Dragon's writing similar sort of thing where you've got enough information to do a show on, but you're sort of filling in things as you go along as well a little bit. They've got more help obviously because Tolkien's there. The Tolkien, George R. R. Martin is there, so he can help
Mhm.
you, fill in with stuff. But because that's hit the mark every week and you're on at the same time, and obviously
Yeah,
George R. R. Martin was heavily inspired by Tolkien, heavy,
yep,
heavy, heavily inspired. As he inspired every
yep,
fantasy writer because he's the goat. So people are gonna compare both because like we're going
absolutely.
from Friday night that show and then Sunday night House of Dragons. So, but to be honest, it stands on its own pretty well. To world build this much this well in 3 episodes is pretty impressive. I can't lie. Like
Yeah,
I know
you've
most
done
of the
well.
world. You done well. You done well. We've seen
Mm.
Mordor now, so and 3 episodes in. So
Yeah, no, exactly, and for that, I cannot complain. So, yeah, do you want to give your socials out again? I don't know if you've had any Bilbo Baggins 94 accounts follow you after the last time, but
I want the Isildur stands to follow me. Oh, that guy was
Isildur stands. Yeah, that's it.
like Isildur was fitting that. Can't lie, man.
Hey, man, I ain't involved in all that, bro.
He was.
But
If all the
you
stands
go.
want to follow me, anyone who wants to jump into my DMs talk about that, I am more than happy to. Morning, noon, night, GMT. It's my time because you're here in the UK. Follow me. Let's talk about it because no one else is paying on that show.
Cool. As Priscilla with an X, right?
Yeah,
Priscilla with
yeah.
an
Oh,
X.
sorry, I didn't even drop my socials. It's
She came up on the
Priscilla.
Isildur post.
Yeah, it's Priscilla with my first I, my name. So PRXSCILLAIDK. That's my Twitter. I'm not giving out my IG. That's for special people.
Mine is Chizzy, which is CHIZZYVII. You can follow me if you like, but all I do is cry about Arsenal. So if you're into that sort of thing, do give me a shout. And then obviously don't forget to listen to our other shows. We do Industry. There is now a complete rack of Better Call Saul episodes to listen to now that that show is over. We're also covering Industry at the moment, which is really, really good. We had the creators on the other day, so make sure you give that a listen and keep up to date with our thoughts on that. So the podcast and the accounts to follow, that is Popcorn for Dinner, all one word, _pod. Follow us on Instagram and on Twitter and give us a shout. And yeah, no, thanks for listening. No Premier League football this weekend. That's where I'm wearing black. That's what I'm mourning. But yeah, I mean, now you've got no excuse. So make sure you give us a look. All right. Sweet. Have a good evening. Bye.
All right, bye guys.